What's up, Charles?
How you doing there, brother Mel?
All right, all right, all right. Um, had better days, I guess, but we're gonna have some fun tonight, man. We're just gonna and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on. We'll talk a little bit about the numbers. Um, I want to wait for a little while for people to come in because I did want to
Sure,
talk a
sure.
little bit about what happened in Texas.
Hmm. Yep.
Wanted to do a moment of silence for those kids and the
Oh,
families, the victims.
young
Elementary
babies.
school, elementary school.
I saw someone posted the names and the faces of those affected. With the exception of the two adults, the rest is, you can just imagine how scared these babies were. I mean, oh my goodness. And you know, everybody talk about how strict our gun laws are, right? Well, that's the reason because this guy turns 18 and he's able to buy. And I thought you can own a weapon, but you can't purchase a weapon till you're 21. That's what I thought.
Uh, that's Hawaii.
Okay, so and
And
so
real quick, Charlie, just real quick,
yeah,
because I want to share this. That Hawaii has the toughest gun laws in the country, and
yeah,
some people may complain about that. I am perfectly fine with the tough laws in Hawaii,
yeah,
and we have the lowest number of gun violence cases in the country per
yeah.
capita. Do you think maybe it's because we have tougher gun laws, Charlie? That's
Well,
exactly
you
why. That's
know,
exactly why.
you
No
know,
background checks. No background checks. No psych checks up in Texas. I mean, you walk in, you buy a gun, you walk out.
well, I think, my point is this. Just the mere thought of turning 18, right? Just the mere thought of turning 18 and being able to buy two assault weapons. I mean, gonna get these NRA people said, we entitled to hunting. I said, yeah. It was sad that this individual ended up hunting humans. Well, was that the intent? No. I mean, it is sad.
You know, I wouldn't. I don't know. Again, if we upset, offend, whatever, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
This is a free platform, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But we this is the richest country in the world, the most powerful country in the world, right? We send
Mm,
trillions of dollars overseas to help other countries with their social issues and their problems.
mm-hmm.
And we cannot provide, and this is the root of the problem. Uh, because now all the legislators, all the congressmen, all the Senate, everybody's all grumbling and picking on the symptom, right? Which is the gun and the gun that killed all these kids. But the fact of the matter is we do not provide adequate mental health services to our people, child. How embarrassing is that? Yeah, when we're in the richest country and we cannot adequately serve our, first of all, our veterans that are suffering with mental illness and our kids that are suffering from mental illness, whether it's drug induced or not. We do not have mental health services for our people. And I think for me, if I'm in Congress, if I'm the president, yeah, you can you can send your prayers and your wishes. You can have moments of silence. You can have all of these things, but get off your asses and start focusing on the issue of mental health across this country because we get so many people, Charlie. Do you notice these elected officials driving their fancy cars? They pass the homeless people on the sidewalks, and they probably smirk and say, "God, how can we get rid of those?" Right? Our own state will have no problem sweeping these guys from one area to the next without having the ability to offer them services. We go on mental hospital, 100 million or whatever it was to cost over 1 year. The doors not can open because they're not ready. We're not taking mental health issues seriously. It's not a
Hmm.
priority. Yeah, yeah, that's the problem, Charlie. In my opinion, yes, the gun. I mean, how? Why people would object to a background check to buy a gun? Why would people object to requiring a letter from your doctor saying that you're mentally sane? I have issues with that. I don't see that as a problem, but a lot of people do, and the lobby is strong. So our Congress people, they weak. But that's a symptom, right? It's this mental health. We got to get our from the kids from when they're young. You check call for, and I've Charlie, you probably have done this too. Called for services for someone that you ran across, whether it was you a cop or you was someone ran into you and said, "But I need some help, man. I need some help. I just, and you call, and the first question that comes out of those people's mouths is, "What kind of insurance do they have?" You see, it's not a priority. Yeah? Why shouldn't mental health services be freaking open to anyone, whether you can or cannot afford it, whether you have insurance or not? And I think that's the bigger issue that Congress is kind of skipping over, and they're going straight after the gun laws. Well, Charlie, if you're mentally ill and you have reached that point where you're going to go and you want to kill people, you don't need a gun. A gun makes it easier. You can kill a lot more people. But the issue is, let's take care of these people with mental illness. Let's take care of the people with mental illness. But with that, Charlie, let us do this as I wanted to open up with just a moment of silence. Although I said I'm sick and tired of hearing because it's happening too frequently, but I do want to just take a short moment of silence for the families, the kids, the community in Texas. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, aloha everybody, welcome. What a somber way to start the show, but I actually wasn't going to do a show tonight, and Charlie talked me into doing the show and just sharing some happy times, some happy thoughts. Uh, but it is Wednesday, Charlie. It is Wednesday. The numbers came out today, COVID numbers, is as expected, right? As expected, because if we listen to Dr. Altenberg and we listen to the experts, we don't expect to peak until mid-June. We're still in May. So if anyone's if anyone's doubting the scientists, then they might be surprised today. But for those of us that actually listen to the experts, we're not surprised. And what is also not surprising, even though the numbers are going through the roof, even though we know that the numbers that are they're telling us is only a fraction of the actual cases, we know that the hospitalizations now, COVID hospitalizations, are climbing quite rapidly. What's not surprising is the silence from the governor, the silence from the lieutenant governor, the silence from everybody. Just dump the numbers to the public, and we did our job. So I don't even want to bring up the numbers. It's just because no one does anything with it other than go on with your daily lives. Sad.
Well, I think, you know, well, I'll just put it this way because I know there's some out there that we we can state the facts and get angry all we want, and it just makes them more bold into going the opposite direction. That's sort of like defeating what we're trying to accomplish. I think for me, the best thing is to say, hey, if you're an adult, you know what's right, you know what's wrong. It's up to you. I mean, that's all I can say. I can say right now, I can testify right now that I got some people that are converting because they never expected 100 years, let alone 1,000,000 years, that they would get tagged by COVID. And I've got a good amount of my workforce that's now out because of COVID. And, I'm not going to say I told you so because I don't think this is a platform to be telling people I told you so. But, you know, being out with COVID is just as bad as being hospitalized. Because why? We're not able to service anybody. We've everybody knows I work at the airport. The airport has to stay open, and people think that the state has control over the airport. I learned firsthand, no, everything is the feds on the airport. That's why we could not stop flights from coming in. But once that plane is on the ground and the thing touches that jetway, then it becomes our Kuliana. Okay. And so I think that's the reason why we have to just be more, how should I say, just more akamai. Having gone through two graduations, I see the future is bright for our young adults, and I just hope and pray they make the right decisions. Now, will I go and chastise them or criticize them or beat them up because they decide to go a different route? No. And I've said this before. It's sort of I told myself whether I should bring it up or not. But some out there, your child maybe is not the conventional one. Your child may be transgendered, in a transgendered relationship situation. All I'm going to tell you is, hey, love that child. That's all you can do. No, 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 go put resistance on them, because usually the outcome is real bad, and too many young ones are taking their lives. But that's a whole different topic. I think tonight I'm trying to look for, have we done everything we possibly could, or are there other ways of getting the message out that maybe we try a different angle? I don't know. I hope and pray there is, because we made a commitment. Mel, you and I made a commitment. We'll keep on giving the information as much as possible. Sad to say, the information that we get a hold of is very, very negative, in a sense that the numbers aren't going what we expect it to go, right? It's going where a lot of these medical experts have said, if we are not careful, it's going to climb, and it's going to do this, it's going to do that. So we're at that crossroads right now. What do we do? And I think that's what I'm trying to toy with. What do we do?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's much more we can do. I mean, we everything that's happening right now is has been predicted. We've been through this so many times, and so I don't expect any changes. I don't expect any changes by our leadership. I just don't. And some people will argue uh, that their freedoms are important, and others will argue that the public health and safety is important. You know, it is what it is. This platform has always been one that we shared the information as best we could. Oh, by the way, I have reached out to BJ Penn to join us on our show. Pat Bronco, who's running for Kaikahele seat in Congress, he's from Oahu, from Kaneohe, will be on our show next week, Friday. Like I said, as people, eh, politicians, candidates want to come on our show, the door is open for everyone. And we want, again, it goes back to why we did what we did, Charlie, why we
Mhm.
started this show. I think a lot of people may not know that, I've been doing the Facebook Lives now for about 5 years, way before COVID. And it was once a week only, it was just myself. And then when COVID kicked in, obviously, you guys know the story. Charlie and I teamed up, and because we believed that the information highway uh, was not connecting to the people.
Mhm.
We, the people, weren't being informed of what was truly going on. And remember, this was pre-vaccines, pre-everything. I mean, when we started this, we Charlie's brother was one of the first casualties of COVID in New York City, and that kind of fueled the fire. But it was very clear at that point that there was very little information available, and what information was available wasn't necessarily being sent down to the people of Hawaii. So that's why we did what we did. But Charlie, I gotta get this off my chest. Uh, because, in the last couple of weeks, you know, it's no secret that, and I'm only going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Charlie, but I speak for myself. That my style, and I know it's Charlie's too, but like I said, I ain't speaking for him. I'll let him speak for himself. I'm going to speak what's on my heart. I, there's no filter here. I mean, there's a very thin filter here. I'm getting better with the cuss words and all of that. But if I see something I disagree with, I'm going to share it. And I'm going to share it because I believe it's important for everyone to understand what I'm thinking. And it's no secret that I have had a problem with our lieutenant governor for quite a while, ever since he made the flip, the switch. And uh, I that's just how I call it. I've spoken out against the governor. I've spoken out against the legislature. I've spoken out against our Congress. I've spoken out against anybody that I believe was causing a detriment to our people. That's just who I am and what I do. So a couple of weeks ago, I guess about a week ago, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I get a text from someone that I thought was my friend, and we brought this up in an earlier meeting, an earlier show, that kind of alluding to the fact that we were responsible for a certain candidate's sign being damaged. Now, Charlie and I, on more than one occasion, have clearly stated that we do not condone any kind of bad behavior. We and I, if you folks have watched us over the last over 2 years, you know that Charlie and I, our hearts are for the people, and that we would never encourage or condone any kind of behavior against any human being or any business or anything like that. Um, so whatever, I get thick skin. I get thick skin. But 2 days ago, I get another text, a long text from the same person, and this is what upset me. Upset me to the point that I called Charlie, and Charlie talked me out of submitting a response because that response would not have been a good one. And I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to paraphrase. And the thing that got me is this person called us, or basically said that this show, the Mel and Charlie show, is Hawaii's version of the Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers. That we are uh, pretty much a domestic terrorism group, Charlie and I, and that we are encouraging people to do things anti-government. I have to actually look up Oath Keepers, to be honest with you, because I wasn't even familiar with that group. And what that group is, it's a very far right militia group that is made up with a lot of former military, law enforcement officers. That what they do is they go around and promote actions against the government. So when I saw that text initially, I thought it was, when I first started reading, I thought it might have been a joke. But as the text went on, very long text, it was very clear that this person was saying, and I'm sure he's sharing it with other people, that we are Hawaii's version of the Oath Keepers, and that we are a radical group that is promoting violence against the government with this show. So I called Charlie. I sent him the text. I shared him the text. And of course, Charlie, being my sensei, relax, Mel, we never do nothing wrong, and just blah, 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 blah. And eventually decided not to respond to that. So I wanted to get that off my chest tonight, Charlie, because we have a lot of people that have joined us within the last 6 months, a year, and that haven't really been here from day one. So I kind of wanted to share that this show is all about doing the right thing. This show is all about informing and educating the public of what's the information that is going on out there. And we have never, ever encouraged. Mel and Charlie are almost too pro government. Thank you, Scotty. I would not disagree with that. That we respect our government and we would never encourage any of you. In fact, Monday, no, we're not going to tell you who it is. Monday, Charlie and I on the show on Monday, we spoke of that, right, Charlie?
Yep.
We spoke of because we had heard about some damage signs and stuff that we don't condone that behavior. And then it was weird because on, I guess it was Tuesday morning is when I got, or yeah, I think it was yesterday morning is when I got the text. So that person obviously didn't watch the Monday night show. So I just needed to get that off my chest, Charlie, because I want our villagers. Like we love this village. We love our villagers. Whether we agree or disagree, we love this group of people that have come together because of COVID. Um, I just want to make sure that he reading Tyson's post.
Yeah.
Uh, we want to make sure that we there are many wackadoodles on the island. Yeah, like I said, the stuff rolls off, but what bothers me is that we have tried our best. Charlie and I have tried our best to lock down guests to share the information, and oftentimes, struggling just to get people to come on the show because everybody's so busy. But the only purpose was it was never political. People got to understand. A lot of people think I'm doing this because of politics. Like I said, I've been doing this for almost 5 years, and I went through an election cycle without running. And this was never intended to be a political tool. But we just want to provide the information for you all. And as Charlie always says, I'll let Charlie say it because he says it much better than I. But anyway, Charlie, thank you for letting me vent. And thank you for being my sensei, my mentor, my friend, that always making sure that I do the right things. I appreciate you, man. I love you, bro.
Same here, my brother. As I said before, when you go through classes, whatever classes it may be, whether it be for anger, whether it be for drinking, you know, anything, you hope that at the end of the class you have learned something enough to maybe taper or change your unlikable behavior, as they say, right? And so I think between us two, you've always wondered, wow, bro, you really hold your composure. And I'll be very honest. I'm very physical when it comes to things I don't like. You know, I mean, I've actually stuck my hand many times through car windows. If I can't get to the person, I'll break the glass with my fist. But is that good? Is that how you want to live your life? I don't want to live my life walking down the street, always looking over my shoulder or carrying around the title of being, oh, there goes Mr. Bad Guy right there. I wanted to change my life, and that's why I just laugh things off. But I will tell you this: as long as I'm with my family and my wife, you challenge me in front of them, then all bets are off. That's why I always tell drunk people, when I play music and they acting up, I always tell them, brother, remember one thing: drunk no count. So basically, I telling a person, you sober up, then you come see me, then we get things to talk about. So I try to be as compassionate and understanding as possible. Now, this thing that happened with Mel, yeah, I was taken aback because what I read, I went, whoa, I've never seen anything from anyone like that before. And it did throw me for a loop. It did throw me for a loop. And so, like I always tell Mel, brother, certain things, it is what it is. And I just said, you know what? Now, if we sense about this thing, that is an out and out defamation right there. And you know that stupid thing. If you guys gonna call us out for any of you wackadoodles out there, don't be stupid and text them because guess what? That's my evidence against you. Okay, so just don't be that dodo. And so This wackadoodle decided to text. It was a lengthy text. And I just told Mel, get on the horn, get on your attorney, file one cease and desist, plain and simple. And then let him do the Michael Jackson moonwalk backwards because he's gonna have to back up on this. He wanted to throttle up this much. Now he can throttle back and let him throttle. You know. Now he is the individual that needs to look over his shoulders because he started this. We did no such thing to harm anybody, and to be called those kind of names, especially you, Mel, because you received the text to be called those names. I would expect an apology from this person, but you and I, we live in the real world. You're not going to get an apology. So
Yeah,
just let your attorney do the talking for you and leave it at that. Because we got people that we love on this show, and we got many more that come in every day. And I feel like it's a ministry. We got to administer to them because we got to help them get over this hurdle. Because right now, more than ever, times are more dangerous than before. It's evident. This thing is just spreading without us even knowing it's spreading until someone calls you. Remember before, we would always say, hey, who got COVID, right? It was hard to
mhm,
find somebody who got COVID. Now, COVID is dime a dozen and it's
yeah,
scary. People who you think would have never caught it, bingo, they caught them. And the first thing you ask, oh, what happened? I went to this party or that party. And that's all it takes. I'm not saying that, oh, that was a bad move. I mean, even my daughter's graduation party, I stayed with my grandkids. Many of you saw that picture. They were the only ones where we didn't wear masks because I know all my grandchildren at that party was not COVID, did not have COVID or was exposed to COVID. So, but the moment we left the party, boom, the mask went back on. And I feel pretty good walking in places where the majority of the people don't have a mask. And I feel like, man, I'm cool. I got a mask on. And it's like, hey Lolo, stare at me all you like. This mask ain't coming off. Not for you, not for your wife, and not for your other friends looking at me. Now, if you want to take it off my face, I invite you to. Never came off. So, I feel pretty, I feel pretty pumped that I still get my mask. In fact, I just ordered three more orders. Like 50 in a pack of the
mhm.
N95. So I've got 150 coming in because I just love wearing masks now. Plus, you save out on toothpaste because you don't need to brush your teeth.
Yeah. I love that. That's kind of my favorite part, man. No need shave, no need shave.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just saw Tyson, one of our villagers, Tyson Moises, is on. He just shared he's right now has COVID. He has symptoms. Melissa Bolton, I wasn't going to mention names, but they just posted on the post that Melissa is actually has symptoms. She's symptomatic COVID. She started her Paxlovid treatment. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think more and more people are catching it. I just wanted to go back to one thing, Charlie, because you talked about, defending, protecting your family. And I think that is what ruffles my feathers the most. Is this village here is weirdly like a family that we've never met. Charlie,
Right. Right.
it's like a village. This village is like um, a family that we've never met. And those comments that were made in the text, although basically he's calling me out as the uh, ringleader, the whole format, the whole platform is what he was alluding to. All of these people, our brothers and sisters that are in this group, in this village, is part of that allegation of being Hawaii's version of I gotta look, oath keepers, and I
Yep.
think that is what hurt me more than made me mad. I was angry. Don't get me wrong. I was actually pretty damn livid, but once I settled down and I realized, wow, man, you're calling out our village, you're calling out all our people, you're calling out everyone in here that love and trust and respect each other. And I think, Charlie, that was the reason why it affected me so much. So, anyway,
Anyway, I just have our good friend Janelle Elderts. No, I am not losing weight. I have just, for now, I eat the Snickers at work. Yes, Brenda, that's where it's all at. But at home, I switched over to my Reese's and my M&Ms. And somebody that's borderline diabetic. I know you guys gonna scream at me. What are you doing? But I do it in moderation, whatever that
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I don't know what
Whatever
is your
that is.
definition of moderation.
Yeah,
I
maybe moderation means I finish a whole pound of candy in an hour. That's moderation. Or
yeah,
you can do it in
yeah.
15 minutes. But anyway, some people are
Uh,
concerned that I changed over from Snickers. No, I've got it at work. I have my secret stash at work. Yeah.
I'm gonna drop off some big hunk to substitute. Bruh, I want the big hunk, man. I have not had a big hunk in a long time. Oh man, that's kind of one of my forgotten favorites. Actually, I kind of forgot about that until you just mentioned it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie. I think Charlie, the way he's angled, they say you look
No,
like you.
I lost weight because look, I cut my hair. At 63, I try to act like a young kid with a little spike on top. Bad move. Bad move. I shouldn't have done that. But hey, I'm stuck with it now. What the heck? So I'll
I
just let
wish
it
I had
grow
a.
out. I just
I
I'll let
wish
it
I
grow out.
had one Snickers right now. I wish I had one Snickers. The big hunk, the filling puller.
Oh,
Exactly, Laurel. Oh my
exactly.
God. Yeah, if you get
Exactly.
loose teeth, do not eat big hunk. That's for sure. Even if you get tight teeth, no, don't eat big hunk. It can
You
cause some
you use big hunk when you go into a boxing match. That bugger hold your teeth together.
damage.
Well,
It's fine.
let
I
us
love that.
let us I did want to say one thing to our people, and that is number one, I appreciate all the comments, not only on this show, but many of you have decided to go messenger and have been sending many wonderful messages and information that maybe we did not get a hold of, but you got a hold of it and you shared it with us. We thank you. We thank you so much. We appreciate it, and keep it coming forward because we love to share. And when you got a village that will share information, it just equips each and every one of you even greater, right? Everybody gets equipped, so that's the good thing about it all. Wow.
This is what my wife bring me.
Well,
Oh,
stand
yeah, good
by.
apple.
Yeah, stand by.
Hey, Charlie,
In
before you go, before
Yeah,
you step away, that day that I got that text,
yeah.
while I was on the phone with Charlie and simultaneously checking my email, I received a email from a doctor on Maui.
Hmm.
That email could not have come at a better time. And that email, and again, I'm not going to mention names, but that email was just to thank Charlie and I in the village for sharing this valuable information to the public, and that she cannot watch it live because of her work, but she watches all the shows afterwards, and she just wanted to thank us. And again, that you talk about one complete offset, right? You get the worst text you could possibly get, and then you get a really sweet text like that. So what Charlie's saying is so true. And you guys send us the messages and the emails, and it really does mean a lot, and it really just encourages us to keep on going. And yeah, so I echo that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those kind words. It actually does make us feel good. This apple is delicious, Charlie. It's an M&M apple.
So, are we ready to get the monkeypox? Well, I first time I heard about it last night, and you know, this I didn't know there was such a thing because all these years, even when I was a police officer, a lot of monkeys we dealt with. So maybe the monkeypox went way back when, but yeah, that's something that we got to keep an eye on. And I think in 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 life in general, we have dangers no matter if it's in the form of a pandemic or um, like what we talked about earlier, a senseless killing, or even someone who loves the beach. You're walking along the shoreline, and you're really not paying attention to the water coming in and receding, and all of a sudden you get nailed by a rip, and it pulls you out. Those are all dangers, and I think a lot of it is because we live in paradise. There's this, I want to say, a misnomer. A lot of, we deal with visitors all the time, and sometimes I talk to those that come to Kauai for the very first time, and as they're waiting for their shuttle to pick them up, I ask them, where are you going to stay at, this and that, and I feel compelled to let them know, despite what you read about our beaches and all that, please, if you're not a strong swimmer, I mean, go and, just be careful. If not, just stay in the pool, because the ocean is very unforgiving. We were not born into water, but, we have to respect it. And I tell them, if you're going to go hiking, I try to point out the safe trails that I would go. No, I'm not an avid hiker, so I just, give them the safe trails like Vadina Stadium. That's a good hiking trail. You just go around in one circle until you tie it. You don't go climbing a mountain and then get lost. But I think we all have a responsibility that, hey, we you know, just let them know that, if you don't want me to talk to you, fine, I'll stop. But if you are willing to listen to me, because you're letting me know that this is the first time to the islands, you need to know some of the dangers, because we lost a lot of people. And every time I hear the same thing, oh, we didn't know. And I feel for them, because that we didn't know is not going to bring back their loved one. So now I want you to know, so you're not put in that position. That's the reason why I talk to a lot of these people.
Yeah, it's like going to Disneyland, right? When you
Hmm.
go to Disneyland, you can ride the most treacherous ride. Every so often, something goes wrong and somebody die. Good job eating the apple for a snack. Yeah, um, but you can go in there because you're it's on a machine that is pretty damn predictable. But when these people come to Disneyland here on Kauai, which is the island, or Oahu, or Maui, or Hawaii Island, and the ocean looks so beautiful. That's their amusement park, right? It's their ride, and they get on there, and all of a sudden, no one is in control. Mother Nature is in control, and they get swept out or they get crushed into the rocks. And I don't get it. I mean, they cannot tell me that there are. That's number one, common sense, right? That's number one, common sense. If I go to a trip and I want to go jump in the water, I go make sure that water is safe, whether it's sharks or alligators or surf, undertow, rip. But it's crazy. These guys come here and these out of shape people gonna attack the Kalalau Trail because they saw it in a magazine, and then they get up there and they get hurt or they die or they get missing. And I live right on the base of the of the sleeping giant, and I don't know. In the last couple months, maybe in the last 3 months, we probably had 3 or 4 rescues while I'm at home because somebody sprained their ankle. One of them unfortunately died, and I get to see them happen. I get to see them go up. It's right here, right on the bottom of the sleeping giant. And these people, some people absolutely, like you said, Charlie, Vidina Stadium or go on the bike path where it's flat. You don't go on mountain if you're not one hiker. So yeah, you're exactly right, man. And it's interesting. I saw Dickie Chang post his post on the at the airport to get these. I didn't even know they had these humongous advertisements for Target. These big banners, huge banners for Target for the tourists, right? Hey, we have a Target here. I guess I don't know if they have a shuttle or what, but those signs should be replaced with "Be safe." Don't go in the water. Go to lifeguard protected beaches.
They have that. Dr. Monty Downs, right?
Uh
He
huh.
led the
Oh yeah.
charge, and had all those life-saving tubes donated, and
Hmm.
they put it up at all these unmanned beaches where there's no lifeguards. Okay, so one of the things is we've had people in the past say that they heard that commercial and thank God they did because it saved their lives. But yet, you kind of wonder how many people, one of the things is when they leave our islands, we should be asking them, was there anything that you heard or read that explained of the safety factors that must be considered when you first came to Kauai? Because there is no real way of telling how effective our tourist industry is. Because I think the tourist industry is responsible for explaining to them all the dangers. And I'll tell you the reason why. If colleges and schools are mandated to participate in the Clery Act, you know what that is, right? They give information. Okay, so if you read up Clery, I believe it's Clery, every college campus must report events, any type of criminal event, whether it be an assault, whether it be a theft, a burglary, anything that's close by to that campus, so that families who are looking where to send their child to school can actually read up on the amount of crime that's in the area. That's part of the Clery Act. So it gives families kind of like a heads up. Hey, you want to send your child to this big name college? Okay, fine. But you got to be aware they have an average of 10 assaults a day or something like that, right? And they actually pinpoint them. They plot them on a map all around the college campus. They have to do that. So I think part of our industry, if we want, it's always, well, we like the tourists here, we like the tourists here. But yet, you guys don't like put out for ensure certain safety measures. And all I'm saying is, why don't we start doing our census, and as soon as they arrive, ask them, how much do you know about this island and its safety? Oh, this is my first visit. Boom, you should give them a pamphlet right there. These are the things to watch out for. How long are you staying? A week. 3 days into it, a follow up should be done at their hotel. How are you doing so far? Yeah, we can at least do that. They might tell you, oh, we had a close call. What happened? Maybe that's something that wasn't in that safety packet. Boom, we can add that into the safety packet. And finally, when they leave our islands, ask them, how was your stay? Did you have any emergencies? What could have been done to maybe better inform you or something to that, to that. So I think we're not doing enough. We want them to come here, but we're not doing enough to protect them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna come, you might as well, not just bring them here. It's like rubbish, right? You come over here, you dump your rubbish. No, that's why I don't know if you saw that picture of that guy. I think he was on a big island. He left, and at the airport, he had 5 big boxes taped up that he was taking back with him. He said that he read a lot of information about how the locals were upset that a lot of the visitors were making a lot of rubbish and they don't take it back with them. He says, "Hey, I love these islands. I take my rubbish back." He took 5 boxes of rubbish back with him. That was pretty
Wow.
cool. That's
That
pretty
that
cool.
that's incredible.
That was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I
So.
think the other thing that we can do, and this is, I think a lot of people, especially the visit industry people, but
Hmm.
if we gotta go save your okole from Sleepy Giant or from Queen's Bat or from Kalalau, then you should pay.
Hmm.
I think you should be charged. I think they should charge you as if I go to Vegas, if I go to California, if I go anywhere and I get into an accident and I need medics and I put my ass in an ambulance, you can bet I'm gonna get one bill or my insurance is gonna get one bill. And I see why we don't do that. The other thing, this is the one that I really want to push, is that if you go into private property, if you go into an area, And I really don't care if you get hurt. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. That's why the gates are closed. That's why it's closed to prevent you from getting hurt. But if you're stupid enough to go over the fence with the sign says no trespassing,
Yep.
and you got to get your ass saved by our medical personnel or rescue personnel and put their lives in danger, then you should be charged criminally for trespassing and whatever else we can find, because that's the only way you can stop these people from violating the law. Is trespassing. And we know we go in there, we help them, we save them, we bring them out, and they get no bill. They don't get charged. You check out a local brother go cross somebody's property line for go down to the beach, and that person calls the police. He's gonna get arrested for trespass. He's going to get arrested for trespass. These tourists come in, they violate, they cross over into private property, they go someplace they're not supposed to go, they get hurt, or they even die. You're not going to arrest and charge the dead one, but the one that's alive, I don't care if you got to go arrest them when they're at the hospital. Cite them, give them a ticket, and charge them with the criminal penalty. That's how you stop them. This whole thing about we don't can do that. We're going to affect tourism. It ain't going to. Every time our firemen and Charlie, this is near and dear to my heart because I lost a good friend in the helicopter crash in Oahu. The two SWAT brothers, BB and Tate, they went up to go rescue someone in a mountain when they should not have gone up. The fire department refused to go up, the rescue, fire rescue, but the two SWAT officers says, hey, we go. If the pilot willing to take us, well, guess what? They all died trying to rescue some jackass who decided to go hiking where he shouldn't have been hiking. Lost a good friend. The other cop I didn't know. Every time our rescue guys go up in a helicopter, Charlie, you notice it's a risk every time they go up because they're in a helicopter, they're up near a mountain, they get down drafts, up drafts, side drafts. And we just accept that and say, no, that's their job. Well, that's their job. And then they crash and then they die. And then everybody's, oh, those officers, they were great men, they were great women. No, let's stop the nonsense. So you charge them. You charge them whatever the hell it is, 1,500, 2,000, depends how long it takes, depends how dangerous it is. You charge them for the helicopter time, the rescue man time, and you send them the damn bill. And if they're someplace they're not supposed to be, then you charge them criminally. That's how you stop this behavior. Because that'll spread through social media, probably be on the national news, right? Oh, a visitor from Arkansas was injured at a beach and was picked up and was charged criminally for trespassing. Boo hoo hoo. Well, I don't think people understand how dangerous it is to be in a helicopter on a rescue mission. So that's my point, man. You charge them financially and you charge them criminally if they're violating the law. Done.
Yep. I'm reading some of this. Yep, you're right. I was medevac to Honolulu. That quick 30-minute ride, I was billed a little over 6,000. But I thank God the Lifeline people on board kept me alive enough to get to the cardiac lab over at Queens. So you're not going to hear any qualms from me. They did their job. Even if they charge me 10,000, I'm alive to. At least I can tell the story, right? I'm
Yeah.
alive to tell the story. Usually, dead men don't tell stories because you ain't gonna hear nothing, you know. And like I always tell my kids, I say, baby, I told my some of my grandchildren this past weekend. I said, let's have fun now because one day Papa not gonna be here, Grandma not gonna be here, and this is just gonna be a faded memory. So as much as possible, I like to have as much time I can with my children and my grandchildren and my lovely wife. I always say that. That's why I do things within reason. I mean, Stephanie will tell you this. I come close to getting road rage, but having moved from Oahu to Kauai, I gotta admit, I'm really cool when I'm driving. It's like, what can I do? If if all the lanes are plugged up, well, I act like on Lolo, try to go down the side like most doodoo heads, right? They go down the side thinking they smart. And then I remember those days when I was a police officer and I was in a traffic unit, and I told myself, down Key, always gonna get guys gonna come up the side, and I used to park right on that side road. I said I gonna catch them, and sure enough, it just tickled me. I says, okay, I caught you, you knucklehead.
Yeah.
And they always tell you, says, may I see your driver's license, your registration, and your insurance card? I forgot my driver license. First thing I thought of, brother, I said, brother, this morning when you got up and you was getting ready to leave the house, you didn't forget to put on your bebedies too. He goes, no. Then how come you know my license? Because I know more license. I go, that's what I figured. Thank you. At least he told me the truth. And you see, you tell me the truth, I can forgive. But don't let it happen the next time. Right? You
Charlie,
always, yeah, yeah,
let's talk about that. You
yeah,
you was a traffic cop actually. You was a
yep,
traffic cop, so that your job was to give tickets and
yep.
investigate the bad
Mhm,
accidents. But now, I don't know how it is today. I think it's different today. I think the mentality of the officers today is a little different, rightfully
mhm,
so. I mean, it's a different world today. It's a different society. The level of respect towards law enforcement is a lot less today than it was back when we were in the department. But generally speaking,
mhm,
you pull over a car, and of course it wasn't some wild, hazardous 120-mile-an-hour high speed chase, but a safety check violation, maybe 10 miles over the speed limit, expired tax, overtaking on a solid line, but it's not, in an open area, nobody at risk. You
mhm.
approach the car and the person is respectful and they apologize. They basically say, sorry, I wasn't thinking. What percentage of the time would you give that person a ticket?
If they were honest when you talk to them,
Yeah, yeah, and and again, non-hazardous. It's just, let's just use expired tax or expired safety check.
maybe 3 to 5% of the time,
Yeah, yeah,
because those
that's
three to
probably
five percent would be repeat offenders after you gave them a chance before.
yeah, yeah.
So normally what I do, okay, and my kids will tell you when I go to Maui to visit my two boys, I always see people that I remember that remembered me back in the department that I gave a break to. What people don't realize is, I was married before, and like I said before, I told you the story. My wife passed away from cancer. I was selected, and I was federalized to go down and help with Hurricane Andrew in Florida. So now I have to leave my children and my wife back on Maui. You'd never believe who stayed and watched my house while I was gone. Was this guy arrested twice? But he and I got so close because he changed his life. I asked him, I said, brother, I gotta be gone for about 2, 3 months. Can you just check up on my family? I could have had anybody. I chose this brother because why? I gave him the opportunity. The first 2 times I arrested him was for penny stuff because he had too much you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
then when he knew he wasn't supposed to be driving, he didn't hurt anybody. I said, bro, let me go take you home. And from there we had the bond. So what a lot of times happens when I go back to Maui, I will see someone that I may have come across. And they'll tell me, hey, Uncle Charlie, you coming back to the department or what? I go, no, I'm not. My days are over. And they would start telling my wife, Stephanie, this man, he could have sent me away for a long time, but he believed in me and he let me go.
Yeah,
And like I say about DUIs, right? Some people will make that honest mistake. DUIs a dime a dozen. I've been known to drive guys home. I tell them, hey, I'm gonna keep your keys. When I get off shift at 6 in the morning, I'll come back, bring your keys. You go sleep. You don't need to make your bones. But I see a lot of rookies nowadays. Oh, they're like, go for it, right? If you there and you see one real flagrant violation, guy going head on into other cars and pushing people off the road, yeah, you take them off the road. You arrest them. Yeah, that's. But if you get one guy that may be driving 15 miles under the speed limit and he pressing his brake all the time, you know the guy's DUI, right? He never hurt nobody. Pull him over. Yeah. Now, I would give him a break. I don't know about the kids nowadays. I do not know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's kind of how we were trained back then. Our training officers were very they were more into the serve and protect mode, where it wasn't he wasn't gonna get in trouble if you gave that guy the option to sleep it off. You take the key, have somebody come pick him up, or you drive him home. You could do that and not get in trouble. Today is a little different because everybody's liability, and if they find out that you had let one DUI or one guy go, and you get
Yeah,
chastised, and um,
exactly.
yeah, and now, and let me ask you this now. You stop that same violation. I don't care, safety check, and the guy comes up and he go, "What, bro? You know more better things to do." Or, "I wasn't speeding." Or, "Bro, what? Where you came from? A donut shop?" I mean, now what percentage of those would get one ticket?
Well, first of all, if I get one guy that was driving on Batmobile doing 100, right? I was always a clown. I'd pull him over. Go, how's it, brother? Hey, I wanted to ask you, where you get the kind of blue lights I can buy for put on my car? He go, well, what you talking about? I said, well, the way you was driving, it's just like you had blue lights on your car. So I figured maybe you get something that I know more. I just like get one blue light like yours. He goes, oh no. I said, okay. Do you know how fast you was going? He go, and they always underestimate. They go 80. They go, about 45. First thing I tell them, okay, well, I give you a break because I can tell you was real bad at math in school, right? He tell me, what you mean? I said, there's a big difference between 80 and 45. I said, so, I just like let you know that you was real bad in math. And, we always have the discretion. You can ding them, but then usually when they go so many miles over the speed limit, then, you bordering on reckless driving, right? So then you're gonna
Yeah.
have to give a different type of citation. But I just keep them down just to tell them, okay, you know what, bro, I gotta spank your hand, but I'm not gonna be vicious. Just don't let this happen again. Is that okay? Now, if you start giving me lip, then I can get real creative. Like they say, hey, creative writing. I'm real good at that. You know, and it's like, bro, what you citing me for? I said, I cited you for. Why you threatened me for? I never threatened you. Yes, I did. Me, myself, and I heard that threat. Come here, you under arrest. Then that's a different story. But most times you just try.
Yeah.
So I would say those who act up, I would say about 50% of the time I give them a citation. Because
Wow. Well, he was nice.
no, because yeah, I was nice, but the thing is, I like them know that hey, I'm treating you how I would want to be treated. Now you treating me like an a-hole. So now I'm gonna treat you like an a-hole. Gonna cost you a little bit, but hey.
Yeah. No, once they lip out like that, then it's for me it's 100%. They all got a ticket. I just because there was no you give them that first few seconds to make the adjustment, the correction, right? You be nice to them. You said, sir, there's no need for that kind of language. You gonna make a decision. Your choice gonna determine whether you gonna take it or not. Most of them, mellow out. But the ones that they're just plain stupid, they end up leaving with a nice ticket. So I wanted to bring that up just for our viewers. If you ever get stopped by a police, be nice. And if the
And one
police is
thing,
be loud, you be
yeah,
nice, and then you just file a complaint. That's
and
how
one
you do it.
thing you don't do, because the ones who I was not so kind to, you watch, and when they're always looking at your gun, they're always looking down at your gun. That always told me something like they're gonna go for it, especially if they get jittery, right? I said, nah, I'm not gonna put up with this. I'm gonna take you down first. And that I can tell you like 90% of the time I did. Because I wasn't gonna stand around to see if he wasn't or he was gonna do something. Because I may not be alive today to tell the story. So I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I'm gonna push the envelope and just do it now.
And I think in today's world, and we say, oh, we don't see it as much as on the mainland. Well, that's not necessarily true because the numbers on the mainland, the mainland is 48 out of states, and that's why every time we hear about a case on the mainland, it seems like there's a lot, but in individual communities, it's not. A lot of these things happen in small rural communities like Kauai, so it can happen. It can happen on a while. It happens. So these cops today got to be very, very vigilant. They got to really be akamai, and they got to really be smart, and they got to be cautious. And
Mm.
I'm not trying to defend bad cops. I'm just saying that when these guys come up to your car, their head is on a swivel, trying to figure out, is anyone in the back seat? Is someone hiding in underneath? It's just so. Uh, I respect our law enforcement officers. I appreciate what they do,
Hmm.
but I know some jurisdictions. I just read today that in some jurisdictions on the mainland, I have not in Hawaii yet, they're actually in, directing their officers not to make vehicle stops on the minor infractions, purely because of what can happen.
Yeah.
So. But that's change the signs of the times. It's just in a different world today than we were 30 years ago when we were there. But anyway, I don't even know why I brought that damn thing up, but that's what happened with no more on guests. We really wanted to change the focus on the show tonight. The focus, Charlie, did you have a quota for tickets back in the day?
No, quota was not because I'll tell you what, our unit back in the 80s, the DUI unit that I was tasked with, and then I became a traffic homicide specialist. I investigate all the neg homs, traffic accidents. We were averaging each DUI officer. We had four in the unit. We each were averaging about 30 to 40 DUI arrests a month. So we had the highest stats in the state. Now that's because we had a lot of fatalities, and enough was enough already. And our job was to take them off the streets, no more. But what killed us, what burned us out, is we would work from 8 at night to 5 in the morning. But then, if the DUI could not bail and they go for A&P or arraignment and plea, you got to go court that morning. I mean, it's that fast. And so, it was long, tiring days. I mean, whew, would I do it again? No. It was just, the days were just too long. And, everything is about officer safety. But to answer your question, Janelle, no. They talk about quotas. There are some places where I believe they do quotas because that's how they get federal funding. And so they might be part of a small department where they're being ordered by the chief, hey, you know, go pull people over for running over the kind tree squirrels, in the mainland or something like that, or breaking, putting, not using their blinkers, that kind of stuff. When you see people getting cited for that, that's what quota. That's when you get, most times you'll get a quota for those kind of real chicken penny any kind tags.
We back when I was in the department, we had a quota, but the quota was it was, and I can tell you exactly what it was. It was for DUIs, we needed two a year. That was in order to be rated satisfactory, you had to have meet the minimum quotas, and it was two DUIs in a whole year. You didn't have to go look for DUIs because in your year, you're going to come across traffic accidents involving someone that was drinking. So there was no issue. You didn't have to go track them down. For citations, we needed to give 50 citations a year,
Hmm.
50. And it was is citations that we had to physically give to a person, not parking tickets. It was 30 parking tickets a year, 50 violator contacts or tickets that you actually issued, and I think it was two felonies a year. I don't know, 10 misdemeanors a year. Uh, Even if he was a crappy cop, those statistics, those quotas would fall into your lap just doing your normal job. So it wasn't
Yeah.
anything where you had to go out of your way. Now, if you wanted to get promoted or go to special units, I know cops that was doing 600 DUIs in a year. And that's all they did. They worked night shift. That was their focus. Now, DUI is not a good thing. I always had more than two a year because of accidents, like I said, or people that were speeding, and you stopped them, and they were so drunk
Hmm.
and uncooperative. But yeah, I don't know if they have a quota today. Probably call it something different because quotas are not
Yeah.
legal. But I think they may call it standards now. But back then, no, it was a quota, and that's what it was. And remember now, it's 30 years ago, people. It's 30 years
Yeah.
ago. It's a different time. But I guess my point of that, the point of sharing that was that the quota wasn't at all high, where cops had to go out and hunt down these statistics. That was just not the case.
I want to address Dana Moore asking Charlie, speaking of ticket quotas, did you know Officer Taguma? Yes, I knew him very well. Keith Taguma. In fact, he was on our watch. What some people don't know, they can, he had all kind of um, identification put on him. Yeah, yeah, you're right. They said he would even tag his own mother. But point being, Keith Taguma is one of the few officers that was shot in the line of duty. He was shot point blank in the stomach. Half of his stomach was removed, and he survived. Uh, a suspect overpowered him and shot him and tried to kill him. So that's that. Now, Janelle Edwards Eldred says that they got DUI roadblocks coming into a subdivision. Part of the studies have shown that most DUI accidents occur within a few blocks of the person's residence. And the reason being is because they realize they almost home. They relax their attention span. They start to relax. Like, oh, I'm almost home. That's when the most serious accident happens. It's within about a mile from their home or even closer. So that's the reason why they put up roadblocks in residential areas now, because they're finding out that too many accidents are happening close to home. And it's because these DUIs are um, their their observation is just getting too laxed already. And they said, "Hey, I'm also nothing gonna happen now," and they don't see the neighbor pulling out the garbage can. Boom, they clean them out, kill them, that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why they're putting it close to subdivisions. Okay.
Well, Charles, we're about done.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight was kind of a mixed plate. That's why I love these unscripted shows, because you never know what the heck we're going to talk about. We went all over the place. But again,
Yeah.
we really wanted to share our appreciation for all of you. So, Charlie, you want to wrap some stuff up, my friend?
Well, I want to answer one last thing. Some people have said that when you approach a roadblock and you turn around, you get chased down by an officer. That used to be the case. We used to use that when we find people 9 out of 10 times they'll probably be DUI. They're avoiding the roadblock. But I believe there is a Supreme Court ruling that says that that is not enough probable cause to go after a person. You have to have the driving pattern to give you that cause to even initiate the traffic stop. And then you have to have all the signs of DUI intoxication. And that only happens when you go up to the car. And so many times people think that, oh, I'm going to outsmart you. I'm only going to open my window real little bit. What they don't realize is if they open their window a lot, the odor of liquor on your breath dissipates in a wider area when you open the window a lot. So it'd be harder to smell. If you open your window just a tiny crack, it creates this funnel. And all that air from inside the car is coming out through that crack and it's coming right into the officer's face, and we can smell it clearly. And that's how we used to catch them. So, and don't worry, Dana. I know you didn't mean any disrespect, but he did take his job seriously, and he's enjoying retirement life. He's got a really good retirement. He bought 3 homes up in the state of Washington, and he lives on a beautiful lake. So I wish him all the best. To our friends that joined us tonight, thank you so much for joining Mel and I on this version of Facebook Live with Mel and Charlie. I know we started off with some somber news and we went all over the place, but we just wanted to let you folks know that maybe we touched on something that might pique your interest, maybe not, but we try to do the best we can. Like anything else, as individuals, we're only humans. We can only bring up so much information, and the rest is still an ongoing research and what we can find and what we can share with you. We hope and pray that it's good information that you'll take with you. I hope that little bit we did about safety, regardless of who the person is. I know there's many that frown upon our visitors, but you know what? They didn't ask for it. I mean, it's like me. I rarely go to Vegas, but when I do, I'm a visitor. I'm not going to make my home there, but I still respect that area. I still follow all of the safety rules. I don't go into neighborhoods where I don't know. I used to walk from downtown to the strip. I don't. Well, maybe because of age, I don't do that anymore. Whatever the case may be, all I'm saying is we have to show the aloha. Sometimes we gotta bite our tongue, but I would rather us giving someone really good information to keep themselves safe, so we don't have to read about Kauai being the most dangerous place to visit because the oceans are terrible, the hiking trails are bad, that type of thing. We don't need that kind of bad publicity. So if we all just do a little bit on our part, just to just like we talking story, talk story with these visitors. We're not asking them for take us out to dinner, but we're just trying to give them some kind of guidance that hey, if you think you want to go swimming over there, make sure that you're a strong swimmer because the undertow can get you really rough, right? And to everybody else, again, thank you so much. I enjoyed these kind of nights where we just ad lib, but we're talking with some substance. We're not everything we talked about tonight. We lived it. Not saying that we're experts on it, but we can see how it affected our lives and how it affected lives of others. So with that said, I love you all and aloha, and I'll turn this back over to Mel.
I'm sorry, I was wrapping up my apple, my M&M's apple. Oh, actually, it's pretty damn good apple. Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks, Charlie. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Just want to say thank you guys. We're gonna continue to do this as long as you guys are willing to listen. And I kind of enjoyed these nights where we don't know what the heck we're gonna talk about and we just blast from the hip. Um, I'm gonna try to get Dr. Tim Brown on Friday to share with us his observations. But we'll definitely try to round the week up with an expert. Um, like I said, next week Monday is Memorial Day, so we're not going to have
Yeah,
a show on Memorial Day. Uh, that's one of my bigger holidays, and we hope you guys can enjoy time with your family on Monday. But on Friday we'll have Pat Bronco. He's coming away again, as I said earlier. He'll be on our show. He's running for our CD2 congressional seat, Kaikaili seat. Definitely interested in hearing from him as well. And try to keep the funnel full, keep you guys interested, and keep you guys engaged. And we are a village people. We're not the village people, but we are a village people. And yeah, Murray, I am going to ask Dr. Jerome Kim. I meant to send him an email today, in fact, and I totally. But I consider us a family. I consider us as brothers and sisters, and we're going to stay the course, and we're going to defend this village if anyone wants to try to disrupt the village. I treat you as my family, and that's going to continue. And I know Charlie's got my back, so it makes it a whole lot easier. So with that, everybody, hey pops, I never see you on tonight. Love you, man. Hope everything's going good up there. We'll see you guys Friday night. You guys take care, stay safe. God bless.